Hello everyone, it's David aka Double D, and we are back with another Zendikar Rising draft. Um, this time I'm using a guy named Norm. So it's one of my friend's account. It's just an account like I haven't put any money into, and he never did. So um, it was like a joke account that I managed to get to diamond one time. But yeah, this is just a account that has a bunch of gems. First pack here we have Ashaya. Is that what it's called? Yeah, Ashaya, Soul of the Wild. Um, Pretty bomb mythic. Power and toughness is equal to the number of lands you control, and then any non-token creatures are counted as force. So you play a land that activates landfall. You play a creature that also activates landfall. So a pretty good first pick. I forget what the other cards there were in the pack, but I feel like even if there was good removal, you can't pass up on a bomb rare. Next pack, we have a pretty strong rare with a Kiri, and I think there's some other choices. Well, it's either a Kiri or stick with green. Gnarlid, like Kiri's red white, so like would deviate away from green, which I kind of want to be in with my mythic rare. So I pick up Gnarlid Colony, a good strong 2-drop, 2/2 that also has kicker abilities. Next pack, choices would be probably a Myria Captain, the Kazul's Fury. Don't think I would pick up Relic here, but I end up just taking the Reclaim the Waste. We kind of want more lands to pump up Ashaya, and also to like kick Gnarlid Colony. Next pack, I think the only good card here was the Bubble Snare. The green cards weren't like too great, and Bubble Snare is good, somewhat removal. Next pick we have a Vine Gecko, a couple other green cards. Vine Gecko was a good pickup here. It helps reduce kicker costs, and it also gets a +1 counter whenever you kick a spell. It can get pretty big if you have like enough kicker spells. Gnarlid Colony, Reclaim the Waste that we have. Also the Bubble Snare would work. Here on this next pack we see another Bubble Snare, but pick up the Veteran Adventurer. It's a 5/5 Vigilance, and it also costs 6, but then it can cost less if we have party members to bring down the cost. Currently we don't have any party members, but it's only halfway through the first pack. Next pick we have Ambush. Took it as fast as I could because it was the only green card. All I saw was white and blue cards, which I don't think I was going to play. And Ambush was pretty good. It allows you to fight a creature, so it's pretty good removal. Here we have a couple of not that great cards. I could go for the Skyclave Squid, but I think I just end up taking the green card here. Here I see another Gnarlid Colony, which goes great in this green deck. Here we see the only green card, a Dauntless Survivor. It's a okay pickup. 2-drop that puts a +1/+1 counter on any creature, and with the Gnarlid colonies, if you have a +1 counter on a creature, they have trample, so it was a good pickup. Here again we see another Dauntless Survivor. And another Reach 1/4. Here we have a Murasa Brute. That's a 3/3 for 3. And a Moss Pit Skeleton as our last pick. Second pack, we have a tough choice here. We have a Shatterskull Charger and a Thundering Rebuke. So we either have an aggressive creature or a removal spell. I think here I went with the creature. As good as Thundering Rebuke is, I felt like I'd rather be a more aggressive deck. And having Trample Haste is pretty good. Next pack, we see Royal Eruption. It's a lower costing or lower damage of Thundering Rebuke, but it's still a good pickup. The other choice in that pack would have been a Territorial Skycat, but always gotta treasure removal. Here I decided I'm just gonna go red-green. I took out the blue and black cards. We also get an Oran Reef Ooze, which goes great in this deck. Whenever a +1 creature with a +1 counter attacks, it gets another one. It grows, and you could, when it comes into play, you get to put a +1 counter on any creature, even itself. And that proves to be useful in later games. This pack, there's a Vanquish the Weak, which is a good removal spell. And I end up taking the Wizard here. Also thought about the Brute. Having a 3/3 for 3 is pretty good. But I think the Fissure Wizard allows us to like cycle away a land that we don't need, like in the late game. Also in the early game, like if I needed that third land, I could always just pitch a high costing creature or something. Here we have a Molten Blast, but I end up taking this aesthetic 5-drop. That's a 4/5, I believe, that gains you 3 life. Kind of just want big beefy creatures that we could put +1 counters on. And then dealing 2 damage for 3 ain't really gonna change anything. Here I take a Fireblade Charger, a 1-drop red. It can get pretty crazy if you put counters on it, and then when it dies it deals damage. Here we see another Moss Pit Skeleton, but we just instantly take the Gnarlid Colony number 3. Here we see Gnarlid Colony number 4, but we also see a Deadly Alliance, which could have been a good pickup. We saw the Vanquish the Weak earlier, and having that and Deadly Alliance would have made some good removal spells. Here we take the Jiraga Visionary, I believe, because we have no 4-drops yet. Here we don't really have anything in our colors, so we just take the Colossus. Here we have Scale the Heights. Never really thought, or Never really used it in a draft, but it seems pretty strong. You get to put a +1 counter. You get to gain 2 life. You get to play another land, and you get to draw a card. So it does a bunch of stuff for 3 mana, which is pretty good. And then our last picks are just trash. And here, could have went black, green black, and played Nissa. Luckily we have a good card in Brushfire Elemental. Also looking at the Rapid Bite because I could use more removal. But yeah, like, I didn't even bother reading Nissa because I knew I wasn't going to take it, but it would have been an okay pick had I taken the other removal spells in pack 2. And here we see another Vine Gecko, which I just instantly take. I think I just skipped the black rare that was in that pack, so because again I'm already committed to green red, but I think it would have been an okay deck if I went black. Here we don't really have anything for us. Just take the pack beast. It allows for party. And here again we see another deadly alliance. So people weren't taking black cards in this pod. We end up taking the Canopy Baloth. Good landfall creature. Again, we could put a +1 counter on it and then have a Gnarlid colony out. One of the 4 Gnarlid colonies that we have, and it would have trample. Here, just take the Ballad Ged recovery. It's a good thing to like rebuy a creature that you might have lost. I take the Vastwood fortification there. And we have another Gnarlid colony, number 5. Since this is limited, you are allowed to play more than 4 copies of a card, so I'm gonna play all 5 if I can. I took the Night Runner there, don't really care. I think the other card, the green card, was the Ascetic that I don't want to really play 2 of. And we wheeled a Rapid Bite, which was really lucky. Here we don't really need any of these cards. Had I gone black, I would take the Dreadworm. Here, another one of the reach creatures. Subtle Strike would have been a good black card. Yeah, we have 30 cards. I'm gonna have to make some cuts. Cutting the Scale to Heights. Just kind of want creatures. End up cutting the Marasa Brutes. We get another Jiraga Visionary. And we have like a bunch of good cards. Wasn't gonna cut the flip cards because I mean they're pretty much lands, and I could probably afford to cut lands. But I think in this deck I didn't really cut any lands. I think I went with the full 17 and then had the backup flip cards. Yeah, we have 45 cards, so we need to cut 5. Cut the Charger. Mostly a green deck, so I don't really need the first drop. 1 drop red. Don't really have any equipment to like give it haste or anything. End up cutting the Dauntless Survivors. It's only a 1/1 if I put the counter on something else, and then it was like I could probably cut it. And let's trying to figure out what to take out. I ended up taking out the aesthetic finally. Or I picked up another one, I'm not sure. And we just need one more cut. Could maybe reclaim the waste, but it's a good kicker card. Would need sometimes the extra mountain for Shatter Skull Charger. And I figure maybe I could just cut a land, just play 16 lands, but I think I only had 3 of the flip cards, so. And I end up cutting another Jiraga Tree Speaker, the second one, so I just have one to draw me an extra card. And we start the games. Here we have a somewhat okay hand. Don't have a mountain, still need a third land. So can go second turn Vine Gecko, maybe draw another land, be able to kick Reclaim the Waste. Draw the mountain that I need. Vine Gecko. Opponent reading it. Plays an Expedition Healer, has a lifelink because of the other cleric. Decided to give the +1 counter to Vine Gecko after playing Oran Reef and attack for 3. In hindsight, I should have just put the counter on the Oran Reef and not have attacked, but I had to apply some pressure. So here, kind of confused, like I don't understand why it's not highlighted that I could play with kicker. And then I didn't read that correctly. But yeah, so I had to read Vine Gecko again. I'm like, can I play this with kicker? And then I see that, okay, I can pay 2 and a green, so it costs 3. And yeah. So I think I end up taking 2 mountains here. We have a bunch of red cards in our hand. And I kind of don't want the Vine Gecko to die. And so I attack with the Oran Reef. So my opponent can either kill my Oran Reef or double block and kill my Gecko. It's a tough choice. I think the better choice would have been to just attack with the Gecko, and then I still would have been able to kill both his creatures, because I doubt he would have accepted losing both his creatures. And there I just lose the Oran Reef. Like, it was a bad play. Like, I should have just attacked with the Gecko. And now we're cutting it kind of close. I'm at 10 life, he's at 16. And I have to choose what to play. I could play the Kicked Gnarlid Colony. It costs only 4. So I kind of wanted to be mana efficient here. So I forget what I play. I think I play, yeah, the Pack Beast and the Runner. So that way I would have things to block. I also have the option there to play the Shatter Skull Charger for 4, and it would be able to stay on the field. So a lot of choices here. Okay, so I end up playing the Gnarly Colony. So that way if the gecko got blocked, it would trample over. And I also play the Night Runner. Allows me to block the Felidar if he doesn't play a land. Which of course he does have land. So it's up to my opponent what he wants to do, and he attacks with all. I decided to just throw away the Night Runner. It's not going to get past the Felidar anymore, so might as well just chump block. Kind of need the Gnarly Colony alive so that way you can trample over. And I see my opponent looking at his Felidar. Ends up kicking a Blood Beckoning, returning 2 creatures to his hand. Play the land. Decided to play Shatter Skull. Cast a kicker. 5/4. My gecko grows. So we have a good amount of damage there. Opponent only has 1 blocker. And since my creatures are I just take the win. What my opponent could have done there was block either the gecko or the charger and still would have lived, but he just gave up, I guess. I don't know. His next turn he could have played both of his creatures that he brought back with Blood Beckoning, but yeah, it would have been a tough situation for him. Second game, we are with a good green hand. So draw one of my fine geckos. Even played that first. Could have played the Gnarly Colony, but the gecko. Here I could just play the ooze. Decide to give it the 1/1 counter this time. The squid was gonna be maybe a problem, so I decided to just attack into it with my Vine Gecko. Wasn't sure if I was gonna draw the extra land to pump or to kick the Gnarly Colony, so figured I'll just throw it away. My opponent is thinking of blocking items. I'm not sure. Don't know why he was taking a while there. So I play my runner. Plays another squid, so would have been maybe a problem had I kept the other one alive, so because I would have probably lost my Orrery last turn. I'm now up to 4 mana. Trying to figure a way if I could kill this squid so I could attack with the Night Runner. But I end up just attacking, seeing this, checking to see if my opponent will block. Opponent blocked my Night Runner, so now I can play my Canopy Baloth. Opponent plays Deliberate. For some reason I thought the squid could have like pumped or something, but I forget the landfall ability that allows it to attack. Opponent plays Cascade Seer. Has the ability to block my Canopy Baloth. Kind of want to get through with Canopy Baloth, so I use my ambush, using my Oran Reef to try and kill the Seer. Opponent plays Concerted Defense, protecting it, or countering my spell. So I'm stuck with just attacking with the Ooze. Akum Warrior. Pretty big creature in my way. Play the Fissure Wizard, pitching one of the colonies. Try to draw land here. And then I'm able to play Gnarly Colony to give the Ooze Trample, which pretty much concede that it's gonna die, so might as well get 5. And then opponent's at 5, got 3 creatures. Opponent has 2 cards in his hand. Draw the Royal Eruption, removal for my opponent's face. Just thinking he doesn't have a counter, which he doesn't, and that's the game. Ranking up to silver tier 1. So far a good start, 2-0. To game 3. We have removal and 2 of our rares. Would need another mountain for the charger though. But Oran Reef with charger, pretty good combo. And that since charger has haste, I can play Oran Reef first, then play charger, and then when I attack, they both would increase. Well, no, actually, charger would need to be kicked for that to work. So, contemplate about using the eruption there to kill the Wind Robber, but not really necessary. Draw the other mountain that we need. Decide to play the Ooze, which will probably eat a removal spell or a counter, I feared. But it survives to my opponent's turn, which instantly dies. And Canopy Baloth. I have lands in hand to pump it up. Opponent is milling me. So I could have played the Charger there, kicked, but I decided to just try to attack. It got tapped down, which allowed me to play a Shaya. As you can see, it's a 7/7 because we have 2 creatures and 5 lands, but it gets dealt with a double snare. And I lose my Rapid Bite, but I do have the ambush. So here I just play Shatter Skull with Kicker. Since my opponent's tapped out. Play it. 5. I mean, luckily my opponent's just been hitting me with a 1/1. There's another one robber. Slow but surely gonna mill me, maybe, I don't know. So now my Canopy Baloth untaps. I decided to play Gnarly Colony. Kicked. And since it came into play with a Shaya out, it activated a landfall for the Baloth. My opponent blocks, sacks, draws a card, takes 5. And I mean, unless my opponent can wipe the board, I pretty much have this one. But it's still in it though, so just try to attack here. Gets Glacial Grasped. Decides to ambush. To get the blocker out of the way. Opponent plays a counter, but this is the one where I just have to pay 2. And I pay it, and then I figure, oh, I can tap this for mana, so I get Royal Eruption as well. And my opponent just scooped it, because yep, I pretty much had 8 attack power, and he was at 7. So far, so good. We're 3-0. On to game 4 against Thai chicken wrap. Sounds delicious. And we have one of our 5 Gnarly Colonies, and then also Vine Gecko. So it's always great to play Vine Gecko turn 2. Here I cast the Kicked, reclaim the Waste. I'm able to find some mountains for my Shadow Skull Charger, and it also pumps the Gecko up to a 3/3. Play Survivor, takes for 2, it's fine. decide to play a kicked Gnarly Colony here. I have 2 4/4s. Opponent's like, guess I'm not blocking anymore. Let's draw a Visionary to draw a card. And here I'm just like, here, I'm gonna play this with kicker. Pump the Gnarly Colony and attack for 14. And my opponent has had enough of the Vine Gecko, making things cheaper. So I decided to kill the Visionary there because it has 3 power compared to the Ambusher's 2. Ambusher can pump, but then he'd have to spend mana, so it's either play a creature or pay to pump. And I have 9 power, he has about 5 block power, so unless he plays another creature, which he does. Plays the Helion, deals 2 damage to me. Has a decent enough block now. Mess up here. I should not have attacked with the Gnarlid Colony. Should have just attacked with the Charger. Opponent just takes 1, so not worth chucking away the Gnarlid Colony. But I mean, I have 2 in my hand, so. Opponent pumps the Helion, creates a good wall for me to not be able to get through. And I draw an Ord Reef, Ooze. So here it's it's like a tough decision. Playing the Ornery Foos. I'm unsure who to give the +1 counter to. Could give it to the Ooze, I could give it to the Adventurer. Pretty sure I wasn't going to give it to the Charger. And very tough decision. I end up going with the Adventurer. Pump it to up to a 6/6, and have some other choices after this decision. Play the Gnarlid Colony, so that way the Adventurer has trample, and now this gives my opponent a tough block. Can't really get block with the Helion because it's holding everything else back. Pretty much throw the Adventurer away to deal with the Death Touch creature. Then here I just figure I might as well just put everything out there. So I have 4 creatures, he's at 1 life. He could play, if he has another mountain, he could play Shatter Skull and then be able to kill 2 of my colonies or 2 of my Gnarlids or the Ooze. Opponent decides to play Skycat. He Royal Erupts my Ooze. Pretty much game there. Takes 2 damage, goes goes to -1 and loses. So it was a pretty easy game. Like it was I didn't think it was gonna be difficult, but it ended up being a thinker there at the end. We're on to game 5. I have my Ornry Foods and Whirl Eruption. It's a snap keep. Also have Visionary as my turn 4 play to draw some more action. And I should draw a 2-drop in the form of Pack Beast. Plays Priest. And I kind of don't really need the Pack Beast. So that's why I attack here, offer it up for the trade. Like, not really playing a party deck, so the only party card would be Adventurer, the 5/5 Vigilance, so I have enough plays before that. Here my opponent has to contend with the Ooze. There's a 3/2 that would be able to block, but whenever Ooze attacks, it grows, so opponent is unable to block that and kill it, so you just have to take 4 there. I'm playing a Visionary here to draw land. So that way I could play Charger next turn. Opponent plays out 2 creatures to try and kill the Ooze, but end up playing Whirl Eruption to take out his biggest power creature. Attack with my Ooze. No point in attacking with Visionary when I can double block and kill it. And I play Valaged Recovery to bring the Whirl Eruption back to my hand. It's a solid removal spell. Opponent is playing black-white though, so he can have some removal of his own. Plays Skyclave Hierophant. And interesting choice here. So my opponent has the Hierophant. Whenever it dies or a cleric dies, you could bring back a cleric of a lower cost. And I decided to play Charger here, just see how he's gonna block. I have 15 attack power going at him. Opponent decides to put everything in front of Charger, which is kind of interesting. In an attempt to kill it, he does only have 5 block power. So here I have a choice of killing 2 creatures and leaving the lifelinker alive, which was the correct play. Because if I were to just kill the lifelinker, it would have been able to bring back like something like the priest. When I plays Farsight Adept, both of us draw a card. Opponent, I'm assuming, is playing a black-white cleric deck. Trying to use the lifelink and then that one vampire that your opponent loses a life when you gain a life. So opponent here is trying to stack his defenses. Has a choice to attack with his lifelinker to go up to 9. End up playing Gnarly Colony here. Then attack with my 7/7 and my 3/2. So I'm pretty sure my 3/2 can afford to die. I could have left it back, but that would just make it like you'd have another creature to block next turn. This opponent is down to 5. Theoretically didn't need to block with it. The 3/3, I think. Could have kept it alive for this for the next attack. He would have been at 2. Okay, so yeah, he needed to he needed to block because I had Royal Eruption in my hand. My opponent does know I have the Royal Eruption, so opponent doesn't know if he should attack. Thinking like I wouldn't double block, but I will. Like, I have 2 Gnarly Colonies in my hand. I don't care if you try to kill the Gnarly Colony to stop trample. Trying to figure a way how to just win right now. Sight to Royal Eruption is 2/2 cleric. So you can't gain 5, and yeah. There's 8 damage. So 12 total damage. You block the ooze, you gain 3. A bunch of damage, and yeah. Game. Curious as to what the other card in his hand was, but probably just a land. And with that, we are, I believe, 5-0. On to game 6. Got our Gnarlid Colony, Pack Beast, Royal Eruption. The one Royal Eruption that somehow is played every game. You're able to play an early Pack Beast. So if I remember correctly, this game was very interesting. So I play out the Gnarly Colony without kicking it. Since I have another one in my hand, I can kick that one later. It plays Geyser Mage. Offer the trade, which my opponent takes. I don't know if I would have blocked a 2-2 with a 3-2, but that's my opponent's choice. And there, he didn't block this time. Well, it is a flyer this time, so since he didn't block, I decided to just Royal Erupt it. I decided to Royal Erupt it there because it is 3 flying in the air, and then if he played a wizard and then I try to remove it later, it's gonna end up biting me in the butt. Here I just attack into a 3-3 flyer. Completely forgot about that. Decided to play another Gnarlid Colony. So, as you can see, I have 4 mountains and 1 forest. I'm mostly a green deck. I think I have more forests than mountains. If I had another forest, I could have kicked Colony, or Gnarlid Colony, but just play it as a 2-2. If I had another forest, I could have kicked Gnarlid Colony or played a Shia. Here, kind of want to keep the ambush. Don't really want to play it as a land. And I do have Pack Beast, who is able to filter mana, but it costs 2 to like change it to a different color. And so I only have 5 mana, so it costs 5 to kick Gnarlid Colony, but it needs 2 green, so it wasn't gonna filter out correctly. Opponent attacks for 3, leaves mana open. So I'm able to filter, create green mana, end up playing this kick Gnarlid Colony. Could have played a Shia, but then since he had open mana up, like six mana open, didn't want a Shia to get countered. Opponent plays another 3-3 flyer. Starts becoming a threat. Attacks for 6 in the air. Kinda wish I had my 1/4 reach creatures, but those wouldn't have been good in this deck, I feel like. Like, it would have helped right here, but only right here. Well, I mean, it could have like stopped 3 power creatures, but Opponent here plays Skyclave Plunder, a pretty good card. Pay 5, you get to look at the top, usually 3. In this case, I think he gets to look at 4, and then gets to keep 3, so pay 5 for 3 cards. It's not that bad. Pay 5 for Ancestral Recall. Here I only attack with the colony. Kind of still need the Pack Beast to fill the mana. And this is when I decided to play Ashaya. I don't know if there's any counters for blue and a red. I mean, there's negate, but that wouldn't be able to counter the creature. So, pretty much I'm just assuming he must have Bubble Snare. Like, he has Bubble Snare, he's gonna just tap this fool down. Could also have Glacial Grasp, tap it down. So my opponent trying to think this one out is... he doesn't have Bubble Snare, otherwise he would have snapped played it. And could have Into the Royal. Opponent decides to attack. Brings me down to 5, so I'm dead the next turn. I do have an ambush to kill one of the flyers, so he plays Expedition Champion and Diviner. So Champion and a Diviner. It has 3 blockers. And has 9 power in the air. So I'm pretty much dead next turn. And I have to try and win right here. And a lot of thinking goes on right here. And the solution took a while, because I think it was like around here, like once the rope started, I was just like, I'm pretty much lost. Because I could ambush the Diviner, attack, and then I'd still die to the 2/3/3 flyers. I'm just like, what do I have? Because all I have is green cards in my hand. And I was like, wait, I can play Oran Reef, put the counter on Ashaya, and now it has trample. The 12/12 trample. And yeah, it took a while to realize that, yeah, I could just play Ooze, give it the counter. I have 2 gnarly colonies, and yeah. So I have 20 damage going to my opponent, and 16 of it is trample, so. I do somewhat make a mistake here. I should not have attacked with Pack Beast. To ensure ultimate victory, I could have used the ambush after blockers, or after blockers are declared, and then just kill whatever is trying to block Ashaya, and then just trample through for 12 damage. But I mean, I had 20 damage, 16 again, or yeah, 16 was trample. I won the game. Like, once the rope started, I was like, I think I lost. And then I realized I drew ooze, and yeah. So yeah, that was a highlight of a game where I pretty much lost, but then I had the cards to eke out the win. Okay, and I'm gonna put a disclaimer for this next game. This is the 6th game, or that was the 6th game, so we're on our 7th game to have the perfect run. So far it's been a really good draft. Almost threw away that last game, but if you want to see a throw, if you want to see a punt, this is the game. So, strong start. I finally get the Brushfire Elemental that I took over, what was it? Over Nissa. Yeah, this is... I contemplated, like, deleting this game. I might as well show, like, how bad I am at this game. But look, we got a strong start. Attack for 7, turn 3. Opponent plays Nahiri's Binding, bringing my elemental to a stop. And here, I decided to play Gecko and Fissure Wizard, and decide to not loot, just in case my charger died. I could bring it back with recovery. I have a good removal spell in Ambush. So here I have a choice. I use Ambush to kill the Cleric. And it kills my Gecko. And now I'm just able to attack with 2. So opponent has 4 lands, 5 lands in play, no creatures. I have a wizard. He knows I have a charger that I can now kick. Decides to give his commander flying. So here, attack with my charger. He takes out my 2/1, which I kind of didn't expect. It makes sense. So now I just have my 5/4. If he has a removal spell, that's a bad time. But I do have a recovery, so yeah. They smite the monstrous, kills my charger. So if my opponent, attacked with the 1/1, it would have been hilarious because he would have been at 1. So I play recovery, I decided to get back Charger. Play the Charger. And attack. So now my opponent's at 2. And maybe thinking to yourself, I haven't seen a mistake yet. Like, seems like a solid play. Opponent is down to 2. I have Charger back in my hand, which I can kick and be able to attack for 5. Opponent does not attack. Play Skyclave Apparition. And here we are. So I kick my Charger, as you do, and I have a Rapid Bite, and I could just kill one of his creatures, attack for trample, and win the game. But wait, Rapid Bite is a sorcery. It's not an instant like I thought it was. And yep, my opponent's at 2. He has a Relic Golem, which isn't really active. I had the win. And now I just draw lands. And yeah, we're just gonna skip ahead. So here we are at the end of the game. He has a 6/6 flyer. Has enough mill to bring me to that. And yeah. I had the win. And this would have been a perfect draft, but no. I wanted to play one more games with this awesome green-red deck. No, I'm just stupid. Terrible. Here we are, game number 8, trying to get that 7th win after the most disappointing loss. Got the Vine Gecko, got Colony, Fissure Wizard to loot, and Draga Visionary to draw. My Brushfire Elemental. I'm like confused there, like why it's stopping during my opponent. See if my opponent will react. It's like, what could he have? Here, Brushfire Elemental with its awesome landfall ability. Back to 3, and then play the Vine Gecko. Allow me to kick Colony, Gnarlid Colony next turn. Draw a Royal Eruption for hilarious. Deck for 6. And it is down to 10 already. Protector. And land number 5. Brushfire. I decide to erupt. Protector. Attack for 10. And my opponent says I've had enough. Even were to block, be taking 8 damage, down to 2. But yeah, see, it was hard to get excited after that win, because like the last game was just like, why did I throw that away? But here, take a quick look at the deck. Never got to play that Vestwood Fortification. Don't even know if it was in my deck. But I knew I had 5 Gnarlid colonies and 2 Vine Geckos. Canopy Baloth showed up in like 2 games. Ashara showed up like 2 or 3 times. Oran Reef was a good pickup. And I think like I eventually like watched this back, and like we were only playing 5 red cards. Shatterskull Charger was a good pickup, very good rare. But I watched this one back, and I was like, what if I went black? What if I went green black? Played the Pit Skeleton, vanquished a weak, 2 Deadly Alliances, and Nissa. And I feel like that would have been a pretty solid deck too. Like those 3 removal spells, using Pit Skeleton with all the +1 counters that my deck had, and then maybe that Nissa would have been good. I still haven't even bothered to read what her abilities are, but I'm sure it's good. But yeah, this was a 7-1, just opening packs. Yeah, this was a really good deck. I'm sure you're even like watching this and you're like, that loss was just terrible, because I had it. But it is what it is. I still got 7 wins, so it's all good. But yeah, have another video to put up, and I'm gonna continue drafting. Maybe standard's good now, so I'll give it a try. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.